Foolishness in boxing today abounds. And the way that it comes across, it is really sickening, especially when you have participants of the sport of boxing, content creators who cover the sport of boxing, old media who has always hidden from the sport of boxing, and you mix it all up into a stew and you get the worst that boxing has to offer. A lot of this stems from when the April 20th matchup between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia finally took place. The entire promotion leading up to this particular fight was very unsavory, to say the least. We saw a great deal of the weird and macabre coming from the Ryan Garcia camp, the behavior, the sound bites, talking about the dark places of our society, secret societies. Nothing at all to do with the event coming up that he was participating in. Then to self-proclaim himself a man of faith, and at every other turn after speaking such, there were foul-mouthed remarks and questionable behaviors, down to drinking on the scale. And we later found out, even after the event took place, that he popped and tested dirty for PEDs. This is why this particular editorial is coming forward, because there's so much to cover here. And I can't do it in a small span of time, which is why you'll see this on a premiere. I could have did it live, but I didn't want the negative energy that can come with the live. So this way, you have to deal with it yourselves. Yeah. And what exactly is that we have to deal with ourselves, you may ask? Well, let Stormybman tell you. I'm here to say, when you deal with these issues, the dark and negative energies, like what has come from this particular promotion and has assisted in our society being able to distinguish itself of what's on the proper side and what's improper on side. Yeah, we're seeing a great deal of it. And it's time that someone said something about it. Because this is not about money. This is not about getting views. This is about the integrity of a sport that I have professed to love since I was a small child. And I still cover the sport earnestly. But those who seek to throw our sport under the bus, and that those who step forth in a position of righteousness, like a Devin Haney, in this instance, I'm speaking specifically on him, how he is well represented and has represented well for his entire time, 9 to 10 years devoted into this sport. He and his dad have set a precedent that is like no other father and son tandem. And because they happen to be two men of color and have done things the correct way and had success, there are people who despise. Yeah. But let it be said that when they despised, understand what that really means. And where has it placed us? Well, let me tell you where it's placed us, Because if you look around, things look awfully familiar, The scenery, your vantage point, but there's something still different. And it is, we are now amongst the kingdom of the planet of the apes. Yeah, the kingdom of simian beings who are out here with no other purpose than to denigrate and take away from those who are aspiring and ascending to greater places in life. Because what you're seeing out here is not that everyone wants to be happy with success and progress. Some people want things to remain in the mud. Some people don't aspire to be better. Some people do not want to see others prosper. And they will come to you as if they are friend when they are most definitely foe. And sometimes when you don't have enough life experience, you may not be able to read those vibes. This is why it has always been a mandate through culture and history to lean on the elders. Notice how this society tries to be most disrespectful to elders and want to remove them and what they may have to offer to keep you out of harm's way, because they've been where you may be trying to go, or where you may be able to supersede. But if you don't have any guidance, any guidelines, any mentoring, then you are left at the disposal of those who really control things. Now, this mural that you see here, the kingdom of the planet of the apes, are headed up by one most famous fighter and accomplished man in the sport, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now, Floyd has been someone who had a boxing career that is quite outstanding. He retired with an undefeated record, 50-0. There have been other fighters who exceeded 50 victories in their careers. He's not the only one. However, what he was able to do financially with the box office draws and receipts that he received during his career was at a time when our society was really making changes. Social media hadn't really come through to the point where it is now, but the old way of doing things as well, where fighters could now stress a great deal more of independence and receive what's called the back end money of box office pay-per-view receipts. Floyd was able to enjoy and reap those rewards, but that doesn't mean he was the best person doing these things. And he has done as much as anyone else, possibly more, during his time to ensure that no one else accomplished what he does. Floyd has been a thorn in the side of young fighters coming along and looking to have a career of their own, legacy of their own, and generate income on their own. But he has been a man who has stepped right in the way of many of these fighters. And it's a shame because many of the other fighters on this mural are people who have looked to him with respect, and they looked up to him and showed some sense of concern that he, being a man who had done things that he may not necessarily have ill intent toward them. Well, he has. And it requires someone of an elder state to be able to see these things. He's a terrible man. I say that because I've witnessed what he has done. Anytime you allow yourself to be disrespectful with your own family in front of cameras and microphones, for the sales of a fight, you sold out. And how many other times has he shown us that he's sold out? When Black Lives Matter kicked off, Floyd said all lives matter. When boycotting of places like, the well-to-do, Gold Coast stores and shopping. Floyd was the first one to say, I'm going there. Open up the doors. I got money for you. Totally against anything of prosperity because he wants to be the one that stands out. Mike Tyson has allegedly spoken about this about Floyd many years ago. There are others who feel the same, but they just won't say anything. Boxing is a fraternity, and there are those who break the laws of fraternity, and there are those who follow them, and then there are those who think they are above them. Floyd has found himself in each category, but there are others yet and still from this promotion that I spoke of, where we talked about Garcia and Haney. Floyd intervened there. He had something to do with it. He initially told Ryan Garcia, don't take the fight with Devin Haney. And in the early negotiating stage and phase of that promotion, Garcia pulled out. And when it turned out that he wasn't able to go and do something else, he came calling back to the Haney camp, whom hindsight being 2020 should have just left him at his own devices. However, they renegotiated, and so the fight was on. Not knowing that Ryan had no intention to follow the rules and regulation of the sport in challenging the young, undefeated WBC light junior welterweight champion, Devin Haney. Garcia, who had failed to make weight in several of his last fights, had no intention of making weight to fight for the title. And he has yet to still fight for a professional world title. He has a great deal of support from the social media aspect outside of boxing. But people who follow the sport of boxing can tell that Garcia is a level below. Even Haney during the promotion spoke of this. And when the fight took place, it may have embarrassingly looked like Haney called it wrong. But when we waited a mere 10 to 15 days after the fight and test results came in, that Garcia had tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. But let's back it up a little bit. He said when the fight took place that Floyd told him to come in overweight. Here we have Floyd once again interfering with what's going on. A swell of support came from Ryan's social media people, the people in the walks of life or where he had tapped into, talking about the dark societies and children and the threat of children and things of that nature, allegedly, of which he seemingly had proof of these things, drawing sentiment toward him prior to what he knew what was coming, the revelations that he's a cheater. Now, that being said, to step on a scale at a weigh-in, when the weigh-ins had taken place already, this was just the ceremonial weigh-in, but he's still being dramatic with the bottle of whatever he was drinking. That weigh-in actually took place earlier that morning. And he still weighed in over the weight limit. Now, Devin Haney announced it. This is how we knew. The post-fight drug test. Haney went immediately and gave his sample. Ryan Garcia was gone for approximately 9 to 10 hours before giving his. Why? Why? Immediately after this, Garcia went on a tirade of making all types of comments, speaking of other professional fighters, their trainers, the fact that he would challenge and hand down a challenge and mandate that he face some of them, and even insulted one of the women of boxing in Clarissa Shields. And I did not like Shields' response to him because the disrespect that he showed in his comments toward her about breeding were things that rang sentiments of how people of color have been treated throughout generations in this nation. I can't speak for outside this nation, but I can definitely attest to what has transpired here, and it is unacceptable. And Clarissa, who has been known to go in on the men in boxing, particularly the men of color, her potential mates, she's shown no mercy. But her responses to Garcia and his disrespect were too mild to take lightly. And here I stand and say again, just as Ryan's dad spoke of Mr. Bill Haney having nappy head, it was a racist comment. It was a prejudiced remark that rings of disrespect, not complimentary whatsoever. But yet and still, Ryan Garcia had a man of color working as his chief trainer in his corner in Derek James, who, by the way, has no hair on his head. Interesting, because Mr. James should have took immediate offense to this. All money is not good money. And it needs to be said. It needs to be addressed. The things that we encounter throughout this walk of life, no one has it like the man of color here. The black man. Yes, I say it. And I say it with passion. Because I am one. And I am not here to be made fun of or misaddressed by someone who feels that they can say and do whatever. And particularly those who represent like a Floyd Mayweather who will assist in the downfall of his own so that he may maintain his own loftiness and presence in the sport. But a fractured and damaged legacy be what he has. Because at the end of the day, your ring accomplishments will not measure up to the integrity that one can leave as a burden of proof of who they truly were in this existence. There are others in this mural. When you see their faces, you know their places, and it's subpar because that's what they've given and shown. Yes, Natasha Jonas is on this as well. And though she be from the UK, I've seen what's happening over there. And I tell you something, all of this is nothing to be proud of. None of it is to be proud of, because some of you dance the jig as much as you can. Shame on you, because this is not where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be ascending above and beyond. But as long as the Mayweathers, the Shakur Stevensons, the Jared Andersons, oh, are we talking about Keyshawn Davis and Tank Davis? Yes, we are. Each and every one of you have shown yourselves to be people who have recession in your blood. And that recession is poisonous. If a man cannot stand for something, he may as well fall for anything. And we're seeing this on a regular basis by all of you, because there are legends who have come before you and represented much better, far better than what you're doing. And what you have brought is an embarrassment and shame upon this sport. Regis Prograis, you as well. Though you're not good enough to make it up in the 47-pound welterweight division, you've chosen to be a big man in a small pond at 140. But just as you miscalculated with Devin Haney when he left knots and bumps all over the top of your head after you calling him a schoolboy and everything, now you're trying to cry wolf that weight was an issue. No. Lack of ability is your issue. Take your ass out there and fight Subriel Matias and some of the other champions, Teofimo Lopez. Go out there, huh? You never even wanted to rematch Josh Taylor, who whooped you over in the UK. Yeah, some people thought you could have gotten a nod, but you sure didn't burn down any avenues trying to get back at him, did you? Jack Catterall, who actually defeated him but didn't get the decision, just beat him last weekend. 2 years plus he waited and wanted and made it no unconditional term that he wanted to get back at Josh Taylor. But you're sitting back talking about Devin Haney, who already smashed you, pause, and did it very well. But again, when we talk about the kingdom of the planet of the apes, the Caesar, Floyd, has got all of you under his thumb. But he doesn't fool me. I can see clearly exactly what's happening here. And you all are a disgrace to the sport, regardless of your accomplishments, regardless of your gifts of gab, regardless of the fact that you've generated some income. But what you've all shown is that you don't have integrity. And at the end of the day, integrity is a lot more important than the money. Integrity can even be more important than your legacy. But understand that the legacy will hold up if you had integrity. Yeah. I'm telling you, we're seeing so many things go wrong here, but not enough people willing to step up and stand in truth. But it's time. What are you going to do? The choice is yours. You're going to man up, or you're going to be a part of the kingdom of the planet of the apes. This is Stormybman. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you think about the kingdom. Are you a part of it? Or do you want to see it go away? Leave comments and let's discuss. Peace to everyone out there. And everyone, please remain safe.